Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate, and today we are going to be discussing the last day of severe weather. Last day, everyone. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not sure you all can, but I can. And so, just one final day of severe weather. Still a massive day for severe weather that could unfold for us here in the Deep South. So if you guys are new to my channel, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, share this with friends and family and on social media. Also follow me on social medias. Link to my Twitter is in the description down below, Twitch, join my Discord server, all that. We have almost 1,000 members on our Discord server. That'd be greatly appreciated if you all could join. Alright, let's get straight into the video here. Because we have a pretty large risk again, similar to how it was yesterday. Not as large as yesterday, but still a pretty large risk across the board here. This massive green area is a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, other known as a marginal. We also have our yellow area here, a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale here. That is our slight risk. And then we have a giant orange risk right within here. This is your 3 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, or your enhanced risk. And so if you live in these areas, just by the sounds of it, plan accordingly, plan your days accordingly. I'll give you guys the timings here in a bit, but we're just going to go over the specific conditions you guys might see. First things first, hail. Not as much of a hail threat as it once was. It seems as if the hail threat is kind of diminished. The elevated mixing layer, if you will, for you weather nerds out there, is not exactly as prominent as it once was along the Mississippi River, but it still has a lot of energy to produce some hail, and it would be more or less localized around the Louisiana, central to southern parts of Mississippi, and even Texas vicinity. So if you live over there, you guys could get 1-inch size hail or larger, and if you're anywhere else, you have a 5% chance of getting 1-inch size hail or larger. You also have your wind risk right here, and this is a determining factor because this could potentially be upgraded to a 4 out of 5 on the severe weather scale, mainly because of what is right here. Your 5% is indicated in brown, 15 is in yellow, 30 is in red, and 45% indicated in pink. So you have a 45% chance of seeing severe wind gusts and upwards of 58 miles per hour or greater within a 25-mile radius. This does include places like Montgomery, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Meridian, Mississippi, Prattville, Alabama. If you guys live in these areas, you really need to watch out for these storms as this unfolds. Jackson, you're right on the border of the 30 and the 45%. And so you guys really have to watch out for these storms as this continues to move on through. And if this turns into a significant severe risk for wind, which does include hurricane force winds, then you could potentially see, if we go back to our categorical outlook, we could see an area in red right within here that could indicate a 4 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. So definitely something that we're really going to have to watch out for as time continues to unfold. I most likely will be live streaming tonight. This afternoon, I should say. Afternoon into the evening. So if you guys want to stick around for that, please be sure to turn on notifications to stay up to date with whenever I do live stream. So there's your wind risk. Let's head off to the tornado risk. And you can see here, this is the widespread look for the United States. 2% indicated in green, 5% indicated in the brown. And I completely agree with this stuff as to what all could unfold. Could have some supercells that actually develop on the western side of this 5%, but then as soon as it travels on through, you have this massive QLCS or quasi-linear convective system, which I'll show you what that is in a second, or squall line, that's another word for it, that'll just really surge on through here, and it could easily create some embedded tornadoes, just like what it was doing over in Tennessee earlier on this morning. So the potential for tornadoes is there. You also have the potential for some tornadoes near the Chesapeake Bay vicinity, near Washington, D.C., and further south near the Richmond areas. So if you guys live over there, you guys could have the potential for some tornadic conditions as well, but just a small chance for tornadoes. Before we get into the timings here, actually, let's take a look at the satellite wide view of this this entire event. You can see we have multiple areas of thunderstorms already firing off here in Tennessee all the way down into the deep south. You also have some other thunderstorms that are forming off here in Texas. You have one low pressure right here. You can see the counterclockwise spin with the clouds in that one. So that's one low pressure right there. We have another low pressure right here, a weak surface low right here that's going to be trucking on through. So a lot of these storms are starting to fire off because of how the cold front is starting to surge on through, and your low-level jet is carrying those thunderstorms off to the north and east. So you have a lot of that activity there. So one low-pressure system right here, another low-pressure system right here. But there is nothing in behind this. I mean, look at this. Absolutely nothing. Nice high pressure that sits in right here. And for the future of severe weather after this, we might have a little bit of a break before this coming weekend, to which I could potentially see another band of storms that could fire off and potentially produce some severe weather. But as of right now, it seems as if this is their last line of storms that'll move on through. This will impact today and tomorrow. And then as soon as we get to, say, Friday or Saturday or Sunday, that's when we can start getting some more severe weather. Let's take a look at the timings here for this event now, because there's more stuff is starting to unfold as time moves along. So as of right now, you have a lot of these thunderstorms that are starting to surge on through. And keep in mind, over to the left-hand side there, right about here is your time. That's in Eastern Daylight Time, so if you're in Central, you're going to have to subtract it by an hour. But you can see how these storms continue to move on through here into northern parts of Mississippi and Alabama, into Tennessee. And then you have these other storms that start to form off here, start to elongate down into Louisiana. You also have some other storms that could impact places like Houston, Texas. And that'll continue to, transpire as we get to the afternoon hours. And you can see massive line of storms that begin to form there near Vicksburg, Mississippi, even near Jackson, all the way through into Monroe and Alexandria, Louisiana. And so a lot of these storms really start to fire off, and this will really start to consolidate at around 1 or 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and that will continue to form off into a massive QLCS, a massive line of storms here, this giant squall line that extends on through, and that is exactly what we are watching out for, the threat for some very damaging winds and some spotty hail with the chance for tornadoes embedded within the line. So we're really going to have to watch out for this storm. But the good news is that it seems as if as this gets towards the midnight hours, it starts to deteriorate. And that is the good news here, because we do not want any more storms here whatsoever past midnight. No more nighttime storms. That's not fun. Not fun for anyone. So it really does look like the storm starts to deteriorate. There is still some lingering showers here near the Biloxi, Mobile, Pensacola areas. So the threat for some flash flooding is possible, but it's not too extensive here, which is the good news. But the threat for severe weather could come back for the coastal areas here tomorrow, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. If we go back here and take a look at our dew points for today's event, it's relatively moist across the board. You can see here some areas in these oranges indicate dew points in the 70s. You have some areas that extend all the way up to the northeast that are in the 60s. Anything above 60 is relatively moist. Start to get a little muggy in the atmosphere. And so that's what we want to look out for in regards to severe weather. So we have our dew points there. That's pretty significant. Your convective available potential energy, or CAPE, as we like to call it, is very much so widespread. What CAPE actually is the motion between, it's the displacement between the warm air rising and the cold air sinking in the atmosphere. So that actually can create energy for thunderstorms. And if there's more energy, more of that displacement in the atmosphere, then you could potentially have some stronger supercells, some stronger thunderstorms that could be able to develop. And so that's what we want to watch out here for the most part. And so anything above 2,000 joules per kilogram is pretty significant in my honest opinion. And any of these areas in the yellow and the orange is a 2,000 joules per kilogram and above. So you have some of these areas that are in the red and even purples here. That is showing some large amounts of CAPE right near the Mississippi and Louisiana area. And so you can for sure see some supercells to form off within the line over there. It will definitely be a messy line. There's not a lot of limiting factor here today to make these discrete supercells, but they will definitely have a lot of high precipitation in it, a lot of rain for the most part, and so we definitely need to watch out for this. But cape numbers across the board for the most part are really really in abundance here in the deep south all the way up into the mid-Atlantic. If we take a look at our wind shear here real quickly, we'll look at our 850 millibar low-level jet. And you can see the low-level jet is actually not that bad. You have some southerlies right here in places like southern parts of Louisiana into Mississippi and Alabama. Then the low-level jet shifts towards a more southwesterly as you get further north. That'll continue to change as that squall line moves further and further to the south and east. But you could potentially get some spin-ups within that line right there, 100%. I'm actually fully anticipating something along this area right here. I would have to say that that has the highest chance for tornadoes, in my honest opinion. But your low-level jet starts to crank up, and you guys have the chance for some tornadic winds, well, severe winds for the most part. I'm actually curious if we look at the surface winds and see what the wind gusts could be. We have some that actually are in upwards of 70 mile per hour wind gusts, almost a 74 mile per hour wind gusts within that frame. So there definitely is some strong damaging winds with this storm, or with these storms, as time continues to move on through. And we are 100% going to want to watch out for this as this continues to unfold further. We'll take a look at our 700 millibar jet as well. This is our low to mid-level jet as well, so we're still in the lower levels, but we're getting closer to the mid-level. So it's about 3 kilometers up in the sky. The 850 millibar winds was at around 1 kilometer up in the sky. So you have some decent veering here for the most part, and how these arrows are now starting to go almost or coming from the west for the most part. So the threat for tornadoes is possible with these storms, 100%. But it's just whether or not you can get some spin-ups within the line. That's the real question here. And so we're definitely going to have to watch out for this as time moves along. All right, we're going to talk about soundings. I know this is everyone's favorite thing to talk about. But you know what? I don't care. Yeah, no. So you can definitely see some tornadic cells here in Louisiana. This is at 18Z, which is around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Even prior to that, there's even the chance for some supercells, so we might be live streaming here soon. Almost probably an hour right after we make the video, something like that. But we're going to take a box sounding of this area, see what's happening here. Not bad cape whatsoever. A lot of you guys might be looking at this and maybe saying, well, Nate, you lost me. There's a lot of lines here. There's a lot of numbers. This is not for me. This weather is not supposed to be complex. You're supposed to tell me. Or else I'm gonna just look out my window. And you know what? That's completely fine. But I guarantee you, if you listen to me for a second, you'll be able to understand this completely. Almost to the levels maybe as much as some of the professional meteorologists. But first things first, let's talk about this thing right over here. This right here, these thing that looks like someone drew a bunch of squiggly lines with crayons. This right here from 0 to 3 kilometers, this is your lower level winds. So this red line right here is from 0 to 3 kilometers. That's your lower level winds. From 3 to 6 kilometers is that green line. That's your your mid-level winds. And then your yellow to your light blue, that's your upper level winds right there. So if you could imagine yourself right about here with a radar, and you let go of a weather balloon, and you are tracking this weather balloon as it goes up. Now it starts to make sense as to why I mentioned as to which spots are which, because that's exactly what the weather balloon is encountering. It's encountering the low-level winds, the mid-level winds, and the upper-level winds as it goes up with height. And so we look for this. We try and look to see if there's anything tornadic within these soundings. By seeing if there's a general curl off to the right within the low-level winds, the red line, and there is a little bit of veering here just a little bit, just a teeny smidge of veering here with this sounding. So there is the potential for something to be tornadic with this. You have a lot of CAPE, a lot of convective available potential energy indicated within this QT chart. The thing about this chart is that it looks a lot like some squiggly lines and some dotted lines and stuff like that. And it may look complex, but it actually isn't. Down here actually is your temperature in Celsius. And so I know a lot of people aren't really, used to Celsius, but that's your temperature right there. 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So as this dotted line goes up and up and up, it starts to cross over these other lines, and it tells you that when those lines cross over that blue dotted line right there, that 0 degrees Celsius line, that's when you know that it starts to get to the freezing point. So just something to keep in mind with all of that. But this green line that goes up with height right here is your dew points. Your red line right here is your temperature line with height, and then your dotted line right here is the pathway in which a developing thunderstorm would take in order to get to maturity. So in order for it to become a big, strong supercell, big, strong thunderstorm that could potentially become very strong and severe. So that's what we're looking at right here. We also have 1 kilometer in the sky, 3 kilometer, 6 kilometer, 9 kilometer, 12 kilometer as you go up with height. And so anything in between your red line and your dotted line, if your red line's on the left and your dotted line's on the right, anything in the middle right here is actually your energy, your convective available potential energy. And right now we have a lot of it. As a matter of fact, if we look down here at the official numbers of what it did its calculations for, 3,500 joules per kilogram of surface-based CAPE. That is a lot of energy here with this setup. And so we're definitely going to have to watch out for Louisiana and Mississippi. 100%. Let's take another sounding here, just to see what all is happening. And yeah, there's a lot better veering here. You can see this is actually what I wanted to show you all in regards to what you need to find in order for something to be tornadic with a hodograph. So you can see how the red line starts to curl off towards the right. And that is exactly what you want to look for tornadoes. So if you're ever storm chasing and stuff like that, and you want to try and find a day that could be tornadic, look for those hodographs. That's exactly what you want to look out for. Dew points in the 75. Shear is pretty good for the most part. CAPE is an upwards of 4,000 joules per kilogram. That is insane. So you have a lot of energy with these storms, and a lot of water. It's going to be a very much so high precipitation base, so we are really going to have to watch out for this as this unfolds later on tonight. But the tornado risk seems to kind of stay with it, stay consistent all the way throughout this event. So everyone within the 5% chance of tornadoes here really needs to watch out for these storms as this unfolds here. All right, let's take a look further out. Actually, you know what? I might be able to get the Carolinas here now as to what all could be happening tomorrow. Might be able to. Yes, I am. Look at this. Some developing thunderstorms begin to develop. Look at this. Span of storms that move here from the mid-Atlantic all the way down to the deep south. Really, it's just a bunch of scattered storms. There's not a lot of moisture return because you can see a lot of these storms are taking up all the moisture anyways. And what I mean by moisture return is some of these low pressures love to bring moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico. So usually when you have thunderstorms, they take out the moisture, and then the low pressure returns the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. That's why we call it moisture return. But because there's a lot of thunderstorms that are blocking that, they're taking a lot of that moisture. There isn't really a whole lot for these things to do besides go off of the natural daytime heating that's occurring there. So you have some scattered thunderstorms that are moving on through here across the Carolinas. At around the late afternoon into the evening hours, some could be severe. I don't really anticipate this to be really tornadic and stuff like that. If I take a look at the significant tornado parameter here, yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot that's telling me it's going to be really tornadic. So that's the good news. But definitely something that you guys are going to have to want to watch out for as time continues to progress. So If you live anywhere within this dark green here, this is your outlook for tomorrow, your convective outlook. You guys have the chance for some severe storms. Spotty hail, damaging winds, but no chance for tornadoes according to the Storm Prediction Center. That might change, but we'll have to see. All right, now let's officially take a look at a future cast here on our global forecasting system model, or our GFS model. And you can see here is our low pressure right here that's moving on through Oklahoma and Arkansas at the moment. You also have your blinding light that I just made everything white. That's absolutely phenomenal. You have another low pressure system that's right here that just went off the coast. I showed you all that in the satellite imagery earlier on in the video. And so as that continues to unfold, you can see not a lot of stuff happens. There's a high pressure system that sets in for the most part. And we're kind of locked in a little bit of a break for Wednesday and Thursday. Here's your high pressure system, actually. Massive low pressure system that settles in from the north. The potential for some snow here in northern parts of Ontario into Quebec. You guys have the threat for snow. Not, I wouldn't say a huge snowstorm, but you still have the threat for some snow. Yeah, high pressure system that sets in central parts of the United States. And then as this continues to move on through, what comes with a high pressure follows a low pressure. And now we're back into the cycle of more severe weather. So we could potentially see some severe weather there on Friday, maybe even Saturday. I'm actually more or less anticipating Saturday to be our severe weather risk. So we're definitely going to have to watch out for that. And then the GFS actually is picking up on a tropical disturbance in the Pacific. Fun. All right, well, we might have to be starting to talk about tropics here pretty soon. So we'll have more information on that here, probably next video. So tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about severe weather and then how tropics might be starting to kick off here in the Pacific and what that could mean for the Atlantic. So, yeah, you know, a lot of stuff here to talk about for the most part. You know, a lot of storms that are still going to be marching on through in May. This is the peak of severe weather season. I'm sure most of you have been pretty annoyed with how much severe weather has impacted our area here in the United States for a vast majority of time, probably over the past week. So you guys are going to want to enjoy this break as much as you can before more severe weather comes on through. Anyways, one final thing before we end the video here is I want to thank all of our community members here, our channel members here. These are our sponsors of the channel. They have had a monthly subscription of $5 each month. And let's be honest here, $5 is plenty enough. I mean, my goodness, these people are absolutely insane for supporting my channel, and I really do appreciate them. You know, I wouldn't know what to do without these people over here. There's just too many people to count at this point. Well, actually, there is enough people to count. It's 22 people in total, but it's just like there's too many names to list off here. And it's not all just one person, you know, it's multiple people who support the channel. So thank you to these people for supporting the channel every month. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to continue to be of service to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications. Share this with friends and family and on social media. And I will see you guys either in my live stream later on today or in the next video. Peace out, everyone.